Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RockerMike and Rob Presents show. I'm Rocker Mike. Hey, Rob, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good, good. And we have returning guest, film director Danny Garcia. Welcome back, Danny.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me once again.
Danny's going to talk about his latest documentary and a whole bunch of stuff going on. But before we get into that, got to pay the bills and mention our new sponsor, the Esoteric Academy. That's the Esoteric Online Academy. Our close friends Bryce and Paula, who are very let's just say Eastern philosophical, and they basically have a online school that will teach you Eastern philosophies, yoga, stuff like that, East Indian stuff, and basically, if you're interested in that kind of spirituality, her school is the best place to go for that. And she's also doing it from a perspective of healing people using that kind of philosophy. So in the show notes, you can see the links to the Esoteric Academy. And if you mention Rocker Mike and you use the code RockerMike69, you will get a nice discount, I believe about 25% off the school. Good deal, Rob, right?
Not bad deal. I'm not working some yoga. Not really. I'm not doing any yoga.
No, I work out 12 ounces at a time, but it helps a lot of people. So, definitely join up. All right, Danny Garcia, you're back. You're back on the show.
Yeah.
Happy to see you.
How's me too, guys.
You've been traveling, right?
Yeah, I've been traveling. I was in Thailand and China, and now I'm in London, working on new projects here in London. And we'll talk about all that in a minute.
Yeah. First thing, I just want to mention, I'd like to dedicate today's interview and podcast to Marsha Resnick. All right.
Yes.
Who passed away. Marsha was a famous downtown New York City figure for many, many years. She was a photographer. She took some iconic pictures of New York City musical legends like Johnny Thunders and others. And unfortunately, she passed away. I know she was involved in your nightclubbing movie and Ghosts of the Chelsea Hotel. I remember meeting her at the premieres of both of those. So very sad to hear that she passed.
Yeah, very sad and shocking news, actually. She was a lovely person. She was so supportive of my work, When I was starting to work on Looking for Johnny, the Johnny Thunders documentary, she was the first that I interviewed, and she was super supportive, helping me with the pictures, her photography. And we just stayed friends, until the end. She's also in the Ghost of the Chelsea Hotel documentary that you're part of as well.
Yes.
And she was just a lovely person, man. She will be missed for sure.
Yes, very nice lady, and rest in peace to Marsha. Okay, so the new film, we're going to just jump right in. It's called The FuzzTones versus the World. And Rob and I were lucky enough to go to the New York City premiere of this back in February, I believe it was, at Bowery Electric.
Yeah.
And had a nice crowd that day to check it out. Danny, you always seem to pack them in, these theaters, all your documentaries, you always seem to have a nice crowd come out. Unfortunately, you weren't there, but of course, our mutual friend and your conspirator on everything you do, DJ Uncle Mike, was there. And so we got to see this documentary. And all I'm going to say, I'm going to let you talk about it, but all I'm going to say is I have to commend you, because if there's any band that really deserved a documentary, especially done by you, the FuzzTones. And I was so glad you did that. But tell us how you got into that project.
Well, I was trying to do a documentary on the Stooges, and that didn't pan out.
Right.
And I got in touch with Rudy because I wanted some people from other bands to talk about the Stooges in the intro. And when it didn't happen, I just spoke to him and I told him that it would be nice if we could, put together a documentary on the FuzzTones. I was banging to them when I was a kid, when Lysergic Emanations came out.
Yes.
like 80, 85, 86.
Mid 80s.
And yeah, you know, they're very obscure band, you know, like they haven't.
Oh, he's slowing down.
Yeah. Froze up.
Members, you know, 40 ex-members or something, and started in New York. That's why it was, you know, it was packed, I guess, in New York City because, you know, they still got a few followers there.
Oh yeah.
And I've always been into like garage punk rock, you know, the Sonics and all that stuff. So, you know, I really like the FuzzTones when they came out, really.
Yeah, I mean, they started in the early '80s in New York, like you say, and they were definitely part of that whole garage rock, revival at that time. Bands like the Chesterfield Kings from upstate,
Yeah.
a bunch at that time were doing that music, but they kind of evolved a little bit, and they moved out to L.A. and eventually, I believe, they're located in Berlin now, right? Rudy's in Berlin.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rudy and his companion Lana, who plays keyboards.
Yes.
They're in Berlin, and the band is basically European now. They have a couple of Italian guys playing with them, and the bass player is from Uruguay. He lives in Madrid.
Wow.
Really nice kids, you know, really nice people, man. It was actually a cool experience to tour around Spain with them and just interview, you know, all the members and interview Rudy in depth about his life and his career and stuff. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
Now, just a little background for people that may not be familiar with the FuzzTones. Like I said, they started in the early '80s in New York City as a garage rock band. They've always had roots in that, and they played a lot around New York City, and they did something that I was lucky enough to see, and it's actually you can get it. It's they did a couple of live shows with Screamin' Jay Hawkins at Irving Plaza,
Right.
and that's one of my favorite live albums is just of all time. I mean, it's just like to see them. I was a teenager to see them,
Right.
play with this legend. Okay,
Yeah.
was amazing. And you do go into that a little bit in the documentary. It's mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a basic thing we had to talk about because it was a one-off thing, and Screaming Jay is a legend. So and it was quite peculiar, you know, the fact that they would back Screaming Jay in a few shows and recorded that live set, you know, and helped Screaming Jay come back actually, because after that he did Mystery Train, the Jim Jarmusch movie with Joe
Right.
Strummer and so on, and he did more records and more live gigs and stuff. So actually, that helped him get back on his feet, you know, and
That's
get
true.
his career back on track. So yeah, no, that was a cool thing. Luckily, we got some footage of that, and I like that part of the film. Actually, it's
And
one of my favorite parts.
we've had a few conversations about the making of the film in the last few months, and you mentioned that Rudy had an incredible catalog. Like he videotaped basically almost everything that they did, and you were able
Yeah,
to get a lot of that stuff into the film.
yeah. He's one of those guys that keeps flyers from 1966.
Mhm.
You know, like he started playing in 1966 when I was a kid. He was 14, and he
Yeah.
was actually in garage bands back then. You know, like amateurish garage bands. You know, but that's how he started. So you know, so he's been basically at it his whole life. I mean, the guy's an encyclopedia, a walking encyclopedia of 60s music, and you know, knows all the names of producers and this, that, the other. It's pretty impressive. So it was, you know, it was a bit of a hard work to comb through all his archive and decide what goes in and what goes out. You know, but that's why the movie's 100 minutes long. It's probably the longest I've done because there's so much material, you know, a lot of live footage, studio footage, all sorts of stuff, you know. Plus, you know, the interviews that, you know, we got a few ex-members, you know, to talk about their experience in the band, like Debonair,
Right.
John Carlucci. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. But yeah, no, it was a cool experience. I mean, now I'm working with Sonny Vincent on a documentary on the Testers and his career, and it's kind of like that. He's sort of been trying to put together a documentary on his career as well, forever, and on the Testers specifically. And he's got a bunch of footage and interviews he already done, you know, with himself and other members of the Testers. So it's kind of similar. I'm just, you know, coming through all of his material as well. And he's got tons of live stuff. And yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah, we've had Sonny on the show a couple of times as well. He's a great guy, very nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understood that he's kind of like Rudy Protruti. Like he cataloged a lot of his career, and there's a lot of stuff that's never been seen. Sonny is a guy that's been around since the very early 70s. Played Max's Kansas City with the Testers and other projects.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy like, you know, it's very similar to the FuzzTones in the aspect that they're kind of unknown, they're kind of obscure, but very original, very important to the history of rock and roll. And you know, Sonny's. I mean, if you're turning your attention to him, I'm sure that's going to be a great documentary.
Well, he's a legend, you know, in his own right. The fact that they were not a commercial success, you know, that has to do with their sort of antisocial ways, really. Like he says he's never sent a demo to a record label. He couldn't care less about, you know, big corporations or anything. So the Testers only had a single out while they were going, you know.
Just one single, Danny? That's it?
Yeah, while they were going, I mean, they did record some other stuff that's come out in the last, you know, 20 years, whatever, you know. I mean, they're bigger now than they've ever been in the underground. True. You know, like they're very influential on lots of, you know, bands, but the major public don't have a clue about the Testers and Sony and stuff. But he's a very, I guess he's a hyperactive guy, and he keeps on recording, he keeps on composing, and you know, he just keeps on keeping on, man. You know, it's great. And the stuff he is recording now and stuff that he's done in the last few years is really amazing. You know, not only solo stuff, but also with The Limit. You know, he's had different projects and stuff with Bobby Liebling and James Recca from the Stooges. I mean, he did a great album with this project called The Limit.
He sent me some of that stuff in the mail. I mean, he's a great guy. He'll send me CDs. And I checked out some of it. I've never heard anything I didn't like by this guy. It's like how is he not bigger? I don't know, but you know, like you say, it's probably the antisocial attitude.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't really care about fame and fortune. You know, he just wants to keep writing his material and putting it out there. Now he just recorded a new EP with Steve Stevens from the Billy Idol band. Steve is a huge fan of Sony, you know, and they know each other since like 79 or something.
Sure.
And at Steve's insistence, they recorded a few tracks, like an EP, and Steve is producing it, and apparently it's great. I haven't heard it yet. But yeah, no, Sonny has a few projects on the go. A second album with The Limit as well. Recording new material, solo material, this EP with Steve Stevens. And at some point he's coming back to Europe. He hasn't toured in ages after, you know, what happened to his family and stuff. But now he's getting back on the road. So at some point I'm gonna meet him in Europe and do more interviews with him and shoot his live stuff so I can finish this documentary, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely something to look forward to. I can't wait. Now, I also want to. What, Rob?
I say it should be good because Sonny Vincent, he's an interesting, very interesting guy, man. He's fascinating. We had him on the show one time.
Yeah. So I want to also mention, getting back to the prior film you did before the FuzzTones, that's The Ghost of the Chelsea Hotel and Other Rock and Roll Stories. You just got an award, the New York City Indie Film Festival Award for Best Feature Documentary. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. I didn't expect it, because we've been, for a year and a half, we've been showing the documentary in different cities, different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And a few festivals. We won one in Japan as well, one festival in Japan, and this one. Yeah, I'm really happy that people like it, man. It's a bit different to the other stuff I've done. It's not just rock and roll documentary per se. The fact that the documentary is about a building. I mean, it's kind of like what I did with nightclubbing, because that was about a club.
Yeah.
But there's not like, live concerts or anything in this one. So it's a bit different, but yeah, I'm really happy with the result, man. I hope people like it. It's already out now on Amazon.
I think it's streaming, right, Danny? I think I saw something.
Yeah.
Where can you streaming? Do you know?
Right now it's on Amazon. It's on Google TV, and it's on Vimeo. It's gonna be on Tubi and some other platforms, man.
Yeah, nightclubbing is on Tubi. I saw it there.
Oh yeah,
Tubi is my favorite platform, man. Tubi is great. They have classics. I know they have classics
and independent stuff. They got everything, and old movies that are hard to find. I love Tubi.
Yeah, I know. Me too, man.
Yeah, and also got to mention, since we're talking about nightclubbing, that's the story of Max's Kansas City, the rock club in New York. That won the Coney Island Film Festival. I was there when it won. I was watching it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, that one is. I'm really happy with the way that came out as well. Nightclubbing is very entertaining. It's funny. I mean, Jane County is hilarious in it. There's a few cool interviews. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of live footage. You got a bit of Johnny Thunders. You got a bit of Stooges, New York Dolls, Jane County, Suicide, Sonny Vincent. The Testers are in it as well. Sid Vicious. I mean, we unearthed that footage of Sid at Life at Max's, man. that hadn't been seen before, man. So that was really cool, man.
You got that from a guy in Japan, right? That was sitting on the footage for years, something like that.
Yeah. Sadaki Akabane, that's his name, and he got in touch and he said, "Oh, I loved Sad Vacation. Just so you know, I have this footage of Sid Life at Max's," and I was like, "What? Are you kidding? Nobody's ever seen that. That doesn't exist." And he said, "Oh yeah, it does. I have 3 beats of 3 songs that he shot on Super 8 back in 78. So I was like, what? And he sent it over, and I was like gobsmacked, man. I really flipped out. So that's why I also did the Seed, the Final Curtain short film that I put on YouTube, so I could show all the footage that Sadaki sent us, and there's 3 beats of 3 songs, Chinese Rocks and No Lip and
Stepping Stone, I think.
Can't remember the other one. No, it was a Jerry Nolan one. Can't Keep My Eyes on You or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really mind-blowing stuff because the band sounds really great. Actually, that was the very last show they ever did. So, they played a string of shows in Max's, and the first shows weren't that great. But by the time that Sadaki shot that film, the band was cooking, man. It was, they had played like 12 times already because they were doing 2 shows per night. So the band was really good, and the sound was pretty fucking good. So it shows you that it was a cool show after all. After all that's been said.
Growing up with the music, I was a little too young to see that, but growing up with it, the impression or the myth behind it all was, Sid was just awful, and I think that footage destroyed that myth because he was great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he really could rock out if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to Sid Lives, which is the recording, one of the recordings at Max's, is this very muddy and stuff, and you cannot, figure out everything that's going on. But yeah, like you say, this film destroys that myth that he couldn't do shit. It's pretty fucking amazing, actually. As a
Yeah,
front man, he could really do his thing if he
yeah,
wanted to.
yeah. I mean, you got to wonder what it would have been like if he had his shit together. That's the thing.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so, guys, I want to show the trailer of the movie.
Okay.
Okay, can we do that now, Danny?
The FuzzTones versus the world.
Of course, go ahead.
The FuzzTones come from another world, and here we are, 43 years later, stuck in the modern world where we really don't fit in.
This was my house from the time I was 4 years old.
I started playing out in the late 60s. I had a band in 1966.
Everything that I've ever done led up to the FuzzTones.
He was performing with the Dead Boys at CBGB's.
Probably the whole reason why I actually moved to New York is because I auditioned with the Dead Boys.
And that's all I really care about, is to be able to play music for a living.
After all these years, what keeps you going on? It's a sickness. It's like an addiction.
All right.
Not bad. Not bad.
Makes me want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that shot at the desert, we did that in Almeria in the south of Spain, where they shot all these spaghetti westerns. And while we were touring, we were traveling from Cordoba to Murcia, and I told him we have to stop in the desert and shoot a video there, man. So I did that in like an hour and a half, man. We just put all the drums and stuff in the middle of the desert and shot this video there, man. And they hadn't had a music video since 1990 or something.
Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy, man. I just wanted to show what they're doing nowadays, with that kind of format. So that was a cool thing, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, some of them were there at the premiere. Some of the former members, remember?
Yeah.
That was a cool thing that Andrea was there, Debonair was there, a few ex-members, man. So Arno Hecht also, who had played with the previous band, Tina Peel was there jamming.
Yep.
That was must have been a pretty cool night, man. I mean, I saw videos of it.
It was. Everybody was into the film. Everybody was applauding. It was,
cool,
it was great. Yeah, we had a great time.
It was standing room only.
Yeah, it was. But by the time it started, it was standing room only. So,
That's
Power
cool.
Electric is great for that stuff. They're really one of the only clubs that are even promoting this kind of music and things like that anymore. And I just want to say too, your body of work, okay, whether it's the FuzzTones, or you're talking about Johnny Thunders, or even your Brian Jones documentary, you're keeping this alive, the essence of rock and roll, whether it's punk rock or 60s stuff, garage rock, doesn't matter, it's all rock and roll. And you're keeping all this alive. And I think that there's such a, my opinion is music today, popular music or whatever, is in such a bad state that like a lot of young people that are interested in making music, they're looking back and they're discovering your films. Okay. I've had conversations with people in their 20s that, oh, did you ever see this movie about Johnny Thunders? Yeah, I know the guy that did it, and they're influenced by it and they're learning about it. And what's great is the documentary. So you're learning it from the people that were there. Okay. And it's just, I think it's keeping all this alive, even though these bands are somewhat obscure. Not all of them. You did stuff about the Clash. they weren't obscure. Right. And Brian Jones, obviously world famous. And I love your documentary about Stiv Bators. That's another one that had to be made. Stiv just doesn't get any credit.
Thank you. That was at Cynthia Ross's insistence, actually, because she used to go. She was Steve's fiancée for a few years, and And she was like, she kept asking, when are you gonna do a documentary on Steve? You know, and I was like, I don't know. And then I would go to Scandinavia, and they would ask, when are you making a documentary on Steve Baders? And I was like, well, so you know, like different people in different continents were like asking me for it, and at some point I just went, you know what, I'm gonna try. And yeah, I love that documentary as well. I mean, and it was done thanks to, you know, the participation and the help of various of Steve's friends who gave us song rights, gave us photography, gave us footage. Because we didn't have a proper budget for it. I mean, we hardly ever do. But in this occasion, it was like we had fuck all money, man. You know, and it was really Steve's friends who allowed us and helped us to put it together, man. So that was quite an amazing experience. And you know, I saw Steve once, and I met him, and he was the nicest. And I saw the Lords of the New Church. I was 17 years old.
Yep.
And I had my records with me, and I went backstage, and he signed them. It was like the nicest man. You know, he was super sweet dude. So, and I told Jimmy Zero, if he had been an asshole, I wouldn't make this film, you know. But he was so nice. I thought, fuck it, man, I'm just gonna do this. I always loved Steve, man. You know, I was a kid when, like, I was probably 13 when I saw them on Spanish TV live, the Lords of the New Church, and I thought, wow, this guy is nuts. You know, I mean, I like the Lords, I like the Dead Boys, but there was something about him that was very special, you know, and very unique.
Well, he was
I like.
He was a great.
He was a great frontman, great performer. And yeah, you're right. You know, I like to keep these sort of legends alive. Also, because I'm a bit like Sonny Vincent, you know, I don't do this for money, man. I do this for personal satisfaction. And I made these movies for me first, you know. I make these movies for me because I was a fan of these people growing up, and they shaped my life as well, you know. So, I couldn't make a documentary on Britney Spears, man. You know what I mean? You know, even though I would get paid a lot more, it's just not in me. You know what I mean? I couldn't even begin. I couldn't even begin to do something like that. You know, so I have to stick, you know, with what I know and what I love, and that's what I do, man. You know.
Let me ask you this, Danny. You know, you have a long line now of documentaries. You have a couple of feature films too. You made a couple of Western, and you know, you did some other stuff also. Has anybody, you know, from major Hollywood studio or anybody that's well known, you know, approached you or anything to work with, or have you gotten the attention of the mainstream or no?
Not really. I mean, Netflix in the UK and Europe has the Brian Jones documentary and the Steve documentary. Mm-hmm. Because they're into death, sort of mysteries and stuff, and murder mysteries, and I think that's why they got those two documentaries, which is great. You know, it's given us more airplay and more attention. But no, I mean, there's so many great directors and producers out there making great stuff. We're like the smallest people on the block, man. You know, we're not really on the, you know, executives radar. You know what I mean? Like Hollywood or anything like that. I wouldn't even go to Hollywood. I mean, I lived there for a while in 2006, and it's not for me, man. You know.
I was just thinking, like, you know, even like HBO had that show that they canceled after one season called Vinyl a few years back.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you saw it. It was about kind of like the scene around 72, 73 in New York City with the New York Dolls and stuff like that. And I just thought, you know, wow. I mean, like, if people, when that had come out, I was very into it. I was disappointed they canceled it. It was actually produced by Martin Scorsese and Mick Jagger. I mean, you have two huge names back. It still got canceled. I don't understand that. But it touched on a part of the music scene that, you know, that era is not talked about in New York City. It's not done in any big way, you know, and here they are having this series on it. And I was thinking, like, you know, you would be perfect in that kind of scenario, like a Netflix series on something, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could do definitely something. I could do some damage in that area, but like I say, there's a lot of great directors and great professionals out there, and we're just not on the radar, I suppose, man.
Yeah, I mean, but you keep winning the awards. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I'm just gonna keep on doing my thing, man. I don't really care about the industry as such as a thing. I mean, really, the fact that you make something, whether it's a film or it's a record, and you put it out, and it reaches people, that's already a victory. You're already winning, man. It doesn't. That's more satisfactory than money, man. As long as I can keep on paying my bills and I can keep traveling and working on the next project, I'm happy, man. My goal was never to have a mansion with a swimming pool and a Rolls Royce. That was never my aim when I was 20 years old. I just wanted to have a roof. I wanted to have a dog and a guitar and a spliff, and I could smoke my ganja, and I would be happy, man. If I had that other dream, maybe I would be in Miami or something in a big mansion right now. But looking at what's happening to P. Diddy, maybe that's not the best idea,
God, bringing that up. Oh, man. That's some crazy shit that's happening.
Oh, man, that thing is crazy what's going
on.
Yeah,
but with fame and fortune and money, and if you're a sex addict, then that can happen to anybody, man, Yeah. So, fame and fortune and money, it's a dangerous thing, like the notorious, like the notorious B.I.G. used to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
More problems.
Exactly. Yeah, more money, more problems. The notorious B.I.G.
So how's your lovely new bride?
Yeah, everything is good, man. Everything. We're having a good time, traveling and enjoying the world, man.
That's great. That's great. All right, Danny Garcia, thanks for coming on. Okay, before we go, is there anything you want to add to, like, social media handles, anybody way to contact you?
Well, not really. cheapbakerfilms.com is our website, and I'm also here in London working with another associate of mine, Nick Reynolds, from the band Alabama 3. He also co-produced Rolling Stone, Life and Death of Brian Jones with me, and we're working on yet another project which is about punk bands that are still UK punk bands that are still going on 50 years on after the 76 explosion, So we're following bands like Ruts DC, Chelsea, Sham 69, The Boys.
Oh, the Ruts are great.
999. Yeah. And so hopefully next year I'm going to have that out as well. And there's other projects in the pipeline that we'll talk about next time.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for coming on, Danny Garcia. Everybody check out his latest, The FuzzTones vs. The World, if it's playing somewhere near you. Of course, check out The Ghost of the Chelsea Hotel and Other Rock and Roll Stories. I'm in it. And also Nightclubbing, the Steve Bader's film, so many. If it's streaming, just look it up.
And another thing, I just re-edited my first documentary, The Rise and Fall of the Clash. And it's The Rise and Fall of the Clash. The Rise and Fall of the Clash Redux, and that's also going to premiere in a few cities this summer, so check that out.
Definitely. Definitely. All right, Danny, thanks for coming on, and stay in touch.
Thank you,
we'll have you on next time around. You always got something going on, all right, buddy?
Yeah. Thank you for having me, as always. A big hug to you guys, man. See you soon.
And don't hang up yet. I do need to talk to you, okay?
All right.
Cool. What do we say at the end of every show, Rob?
We don't get drunk.
We get lumped up.
We'll see you next time.
Take care, people.